Thank you so much. It's a pleasure, ma'am. And I don't know where to begin with. I have been following your work for quite some time, and I'm intrigued as much as I'm curious to know as to how your transition. I did a bit of my own research about you, and you from the corporate sector yourself, and you've done your masters and your education and everything, worked in the corporate sector, and then because it's a diametrically different domain altogether, and you as being as a woman yourself, to chuck all that up and become a men's right activist and start your own Voice for Men initiative. How is that? I can't. So please.
Right. So thank you, Yash, for getting me here and starting this new podcast. To begin with, obviously, Yash, even today when we discuss with people that what brings them to this men's rights space, it's very unusual, why somebody would come unless somebody has gone through it personally or seen somebody going through certain things personally, which was the case at my end also. And of course, if you would have seen me perhaps many, many years ago, I would have also been like, not like a hardcore feminist, but I would have also questioned that, why would men need laws? Because from the outside, the society looks more unequal towards the women. But yes, there were certain situations in my life where I've seen someone very, very closely going through, terrible time. And, with him, it's not just him, but the family, and how the entire system kind of breaks you down, which is what got me engaged, to begin with this particular cause. And of course, it wasn't like overnight that, I said, okay, I have to get into this or something. I was in touch with a lot of, already people who are working in this space since some years. And if you observe, most of us, even prior to starting this website, we were all on Twitter, kind to tweet or bring about, these issues. So I remember, like for many years, all of us used to like get up, read the newspaper. If there was any article pertaining to, the men's rights space or some misuse of law, we would all take a screenshot of that, and first thing in the morning we would kind of go and tweet it. So all that was already happening. And in 2019, as you said, I've already done my master's in media. I come from a communications background.
Right.
So I just thought that perhaps it's not a full-time thing for me. Let me put that, it's not something which is full-time. But I thought, let me make a platform where, everybody who is talking about it or everybody who is tweeting about it, let us bring it on one particular platform, so that tomorrow, if you want to go back and read about something, it is not scattered everywhere. It is kind of curated on one particular platform. So that is how the idea of putting up this website came in 2019. And it's going to be 4 years this year. So that is how the journey started and is continuing.
You're doing a fantastic job as far as, because, ma'am, to be very honest, this is a very, I won't say a touchy topic, so to speak, but it's one of those hush topics that generally people don't want to speak about, because India is a patriarchal society, and a male-dominated society. So people have preconceived notion about why do men need the rights? Yeah, they are, as it is on a higher pedestal, a higher societal past structure, and those dynamics are as it is in the favor of the man. So why do you actually need people who talk about men's rights and all of that? So my second question is that what, according to you, it's been like 3-4 years, like you just mentioned, ma'am. What are the main pressing issues that you think as of now? I have a plethora of other questions also. We'll go through that, but like just the core, I just wanted to wonder what are the main issues that, according to you, men are facing today?
See, I think, Yash, more than the laws to change, because that is a completely different thing. Laws cannot change overnight. Let us understand why these women-centric laws were created. Because yes, centuries ago, decades ago, there were a lot of challenges which women were facing. I mean, these laws were created at a time where women were not allowed education.
Right,
Even if they were graduated, they were, married off. They were not really allowed to work. So
right,
these laws were created at that point in time.
right, right,
Now, obviously, when we are talking of change in laws, it's going to take a lot of time unless there's a mass awakening from society. And only then, any government, whoever is in power, only then that government is going to kind of react. So, that is a long term challenge what we are facing.
right,
Currently, what I feel on the ground is, see, India is a very, very dynamic country. And, every maybe 100 kilometers, you have different kind of ethnicity, you have different
right,
cultures, you have different mindsets,
right,
the way people think, but
right,
the law is applied to everybody uniformly. So
right.
whatever the law is, a person sitting in Bombay and Delhi also has to face the same law vis-a-vis
Correct.
somebody
It's
sitting in
uniform,
some
right?
remote
Correct.
village as well. So I think the current challenge on hand is that what happens to people, or rather men and the families who are facing these kind of issues, in the absence of these laws, or in the absence of any kind of forum that they can go and seek help from. Because if you see from the government or even the NGOs, there's so many options available for women who are facing any kind of domestic abuse in
Right,
their homes.
right, right,
But for men, there is really no avenue where they can even talk about it. It is so taboo for a man and his family to actually even go and tell somebody that we have been falsely accused by our wife, or by my wife, or by daughter-in-law.
right,
So this is, I feel, is the biggest challenge. I think people should not feel shy or feel ashamed about talking about it if they are not in the wrong. They
right,
should be speaking about it, because just speaking about it and two people speaking about the same thing itself gives a lot of strength and confidence to people. So
right,
I feel that the key issue on hand is, right now there has to be mass awareness in society.
right.
Unless that happens, don't expect any kind of change in the system, at least for the next 5-10 years.
Right, right, right. So when you go out there and start having a conversation about men's activism and about your own Voice of Men initiative, do you kind of at times get a bit of criticism, or are people wondering why you yourself, being a woman, why you so vociferously backing this movement and all that? Do you get such questions?
Fortunately, I haven't really got any kind of backlash, because first of all, when I started this, or even when I used to tweet, I'm very particular that it is not about demeaning women, or it is not about, trying to rubbish the problems that women face. I think what I'm trying to create here is to bring in a balance, because right now what has happened is the pendulum has kind of, it has gone on the other end. Like
Right,
earlier, men completely had an upper hand, and today, in the name of, say, feminism, or in the name of empowerment, women are actually kind of running, not women, but in the sense the feminists are kind of running a campaign which is kind of hate men and stuff like that.
yes,
So when I started out, I was very particular that I don't want to be a replica of those people. I don't want to go and say that, oh, I also hate women, or my objective is to kind of put them down. So I haven't really done that, and for that reason, I don't really face any kind of backlash. Yes, there could be difference of opinions many a times from people on Twitter, or on social media, which
right,
I address. If I can counter them objectively, I think that is something which we should all desire to do.
right,
So yeah, I don't think people question, but yes, a lot of people who follow me, a lot of senior guys, a lot of IPS, IAS officers, a lot of politicians, they just silently follow me. I think the day they start talking about it or tweeting about it, that is when we would really kind of have achieved the next step. So yes, people understand what we are talking about, but they are very, very kind of calculated in speaking out about these things.
So is it because when a lot of people have this thought that this is again my personal so I would obviously want your opinion on this as well, that whenever men want to talk about it, it's misconstrued as being anti-feminist or misogynistic, and a kind of toxic masculinity around certain topics and all of that. So is it because of that that they don't come to the forefront and speak about it as candidly as they should?
Yes, I feel that that is a very big problem because both aspects, whether you are on social media or you are talking to somebody socially at a gathering, you will generally see men are kind of hesitant. Particularly, they don't want to get into this whole tutu meme thing because they
Right.
know that ultimately women might start arguing on an emotional level and not at an objective level.
Logical,
So a lot of men, they prefer to remain mum, or sometimes I have actually seen men confronting women, and again that has not ended very pleasantly.
right,
Again, if you see on social media, who are the people who are talking? A lot of men who are even speaking about it, they are kind of not tweeting with their real identities. A lot of them have kind of taken refuge behind, largely I would attribute it because a lot of them have cases running, so it is not fair for them also to publicly tweet about these
right,
things. But if you observe certain tweets closely, what they tweet is something which is very logical. They're actually tweeting their real life experiences, what they face in court during every date. So
right.
yes, what they tweet is more important than what handle they are tweeting from. So yes, I think this is also a very big challenge that men are very, very scared to speak about it because the minute they do, they are shut off as misogynist or sexist or anti-women.
Right, right, right. So, because all these questions are really important, and because at times, when you have these kind of conversations with people, people stay a little aloof and don't want to indulge in certain conversations pertaining to this particular topic specifically. So, do you think that men's experiences and issues differ from those faced by women, and why is it important to address them like specifically?
So, I think whenever we talk about gender issues, either we can debate on them at a very emotional level, or we can debate about them with data and facts, which are documented. Now,
Right,
unfortunately, what happens, particularly in India, when NCRB reports data on crimes against women
right,
or dowry deaths about, for women, there is really no data about domestic violence against men
right,
or crimes against men by the women.
right,
So, currently we are in a space where we are not even trying to compare apple with apple or apple with oranges. There are no oranges because there is no data about, the other side.
right.
But that is, I think, where I feel that my website is bringing in little value
Sure.
because today we do have a good amount of database, whatever that I've collected and curated, that whenever somebody comes and argues with us, let's say a very simple there has been this that, oh, so many women die due to dowry every year on year.
Right,
But now you look at the NCRB data, when they put out that so many married men versus so many married women, the married men numbers are almost 2.5 times higher than the married women, and
right,
the top cause for that is documented as family problem.
right.
Now when you have this documented data with you, it is obviously it is more easy for you to kind of logically argue with somebody who wants to kind of just speak about one side.
Now, I just want to talk about something that you and you personally, you've been tweeting about it. Your Twitter handle of Voice for Men India has also been tweeting about it continuously for the longest time. And I didn't know, I had a fair bit of an idea about it, but I did not know what it entailed. So I'm talking about the dreaded 498A of the IPC and the misuse. And does this law serve any purpose, or is it necessary to have such a law to protect the legit atrocities against women? Why is it there? Why is it so lopsided and skewed towards women?
Right. So if you ask me, in my personal opinion, I'll again go back to when this law was created. It was introduced in the year 1983. Again, a time where women were kind of subdued. They were not allowed to work. And we were having a family system which was largely a joint family system, so after marriage a woman would go to her in-laws home.
Right.
So she would be living with her husband's parents, husband's brother, his wife,
Right.
their children, all of them together in that same house.
Right.
And of course the issue of dowry was prevalent at that point in time. So perhaps at that time, yes, when the law was introduced, it was necessary to kind of protect the women. Now, unfortunately, what happens in India is whenever a law is introduced, we never go and review it every 10 years because, see, times are going to change every decade. 90s was different, 2000 was different, 2010 till now is different. But once a law is created, we don't go and review that law. So,
Right.
unfortunately, what happens now after 40 years of that law coming into effect? Today, you look at our family system. Are we really living in a joint family? Not really. Even if it is maybe the husband's parents at the max.
Right.
You will not have his sibling and his other people living in that house.
Right.
But what the law does is it empowers that one woman, that wife or the daughter-in-law, to go and file a criminal complaint against not just the husband, not just his parents, but even his sibling, whether his brother or sister who is married and not living in the same house,
Right.
his spouse, who perhaps would have hardly interacted with that woman,
Right.
even if they are living in a different city or in a different country. So everybody, because the law says relative of the husband. Now that relative, you can, go, you can just go on and on and on.
Distant relatives also come inside the law, right?
There are cases where some chachas, bhatija, or somebody would have just met that woman once at the reception. Sometimes his name is also included in the FIR.
Right.
So that is completely a mockery of the law. And I feel today, if you're having this kind of law, if you want to criminalize the matrimonial law, I think it should be both ways, because there are enough number of cases where men also suffer due to their in-laws, due to the interference by their mother-in-law, their father-in-law, but they can't do anything. They really can't go and file a case against them. Even if you're living nuclear, let's say it's just the husband and wife living in one apartment, and you have your parents visiting. Sometimes you have your the husband's parents, sometimes the wife's parents visiting. Even in that situation, now either you give the law to both of them, or both sides' parents should not be brought into the matrimonial dispute. Now that is one aspect. Second aspect is, let's hold the argument that this law is very, very important. You cannot do away with this law. Fair enough. You cannot do away with this law. There are ample number of judgments, okay, not oral comments, judgments from the High Court, from the Supreme Court, stating that 498A is the most abused, most misused law by women. Several times there has been documentation.
Tier 1 or tier 2, tier 3, or pan India?
I'm talking about across, because I see the same pattern even from a Chhattisgarh High Court. I see the same pattern from a Bombay High Court as well. So both these jurisdictions are very, very different. So there has been absolute judgments which say that the women misused it. She wanted to take revenge. She wanted to maybe settle some score against her in-laws. So my problem is that when you are giving this kind of judgment against that woman, why aren't you bringing in some kind of repercussion or some kind of law against such misuse, which will deter women from filing such cases? It has become a mockery, because today if a woman goes to a lawyer and she says, oh, I want to teach a lesson to my husband, or I want a divorce, so somehow I want a divorce from my husband. Now the easiest way the lawyer will guide her is, okay, you can file these cases. Unki akkal apne aap thikane aa jayegi. These are the actual words which are spoken. And it is kind of tool to bring the husband and his family to the table, finally, for whatever negotiation that you want to do and end that marriage. Now, this is the problem, that if you are allowing this kind of misuse to happen, and when these are proven in the court, after that also the judges are not giving any kind of punishment to that woman. I think that is the biggest problem which needs to be addressed. There are cases even after misuse, or even after the case has been proven false, the courts have gone ahead and given alimony to that woman.
Oh my.
So what are we really talking? It just completely makes a mockery of the whole thing. And at the end of it, I think the man is only happy that his problem is over. He doesn't even bother to fight for justice, because by the time the end comes, it's almost 10, 15 years. So
Right.
no man is in his right frame of mind to go and file a new case on the woman.
Right.
So I think this is the biggest problem, that even if you want to have a law, you please curb the misuse of this law. Otherwise, it is just like an extortion tool handed over to women.
Aren't if this is actually the reality, why aren't some of the most prolific lawmakers in the country taking this up and like voicing their opinion, or let alone debating it in the parliament? Is it too contentious a topic to discuss? Somebody doesn't want to ruffle somebody's feathers. Is it because of that they're not taking a stand? And because this is definitely an issue that women misuse it by putting false allegations of dowry, harassment, sexual abuse, domestic violence, so on and so forth. So it is a contentious issue. So why aren't policymakers like having a conversation like in the main domain? Not even in the main media, if I may.
Yeah. So let's look at it politically. Before 2014, when UPA was in power for 10 good years, I think BJP is extremely good when they are in opposition, because they were the ones making maximum noise against the misuse of 498A. You can just Google through media, you will see so many arguments, debates, even in mainstream media on this particular topic.
Right.
But somehow once the regime changed, once 2014 happened and the BJP came into power, right, unfortunately, we are not really seeing any kind of action on ground, because they were the ones who are actually saying that the families are, kind of getting harassed and you need to bring in more balanced laws. So it's been 9 years now on ground, but there hasn't been any change. The only hope, I think, I don't know whether it's a hope or not, is that they are currently formulating new IPC, CRPC and the Evidence Act. So
Right.
if they do anything, it would be in that. But the way things are going right now, no political party is willing to kind of I would say, go against the women voters. So, I mean, we can only be hopeful, but if nothing happens now, I think the hopes are almost zero, because if the other side comes to power, I mean, then again, there is really no hope of any changes. So that is on the political aspect. And if you look at who else will speak about it? Generally, it's the legal fraternity who has to go and file a PIL.
Policymakers.
Yeah, but if I would say, and if I would dare to say, I mean, they are the actual beneficiaries of these laws, because, the more and more these cases drag, the more and more, you have these tools to kind of bring people on the negotiating table. I think somehow, no, they will not really go to the court asking for a change in these laws.
And they make a lot of money out of it.
Yeah, I mean, it ultimately it suits everybody, right? Whoever is a part of the whole system, I mean, for a lawyer, if a case is running long, I think he is the most happiest, he or she is the most happiest. So they are not going to go to court or file any PIL. So yeah, I think ultimately whatever change has to happen will happen from the parliament, and that will only and only happen once the society creates noise. And I think that is going to take a long time.
Right. So, and once these cases happen, ma'am, I just wanted to understand, a lot of times men struggle with their mental health, and it obviously affects them. And he's a regular working man, and all of a sudden he has been accused of a dowry case and the 498A case on him. Or it does affect a man's mental health. Who's responsible, and how does he come out of it? Who takes the responsibility?
So there is really, as I said, there is really no platform currently, at least officially, there is no platform which provides any kind of help. There are certain men's rights NGOs on ground, whatever, counseling they are doing. Again, they are the people who have themselves gone through this, and now voluntarily, they're all working people. They come back home at 6:37 and they attend to those calls. So these are the guys. Whatever we all are trying to do is we are doing it at a very, very, generic and a very local level. We don't have that kind of outreach or, the power to go and influence everybody. So whatever people are doing in their own capacity.
Right.
But yes, I think mental health is a very, very big challenge, because as I said, some time ago, people were not even talking about this.
Right.
Like, I know people who tell me, that they'll say, Acha, one of my colleagues in my office, he just shared with me. So, people sometimes they just open up with colleagues in the office. Ki this is the problem. They can't talk to their parents. I don't know, somehow in India, we don't have this open culture that, we can go and talk to our parents about everything. So especially men, and sometimes the parents of the man only will tell him ki yaar nibha lo, tum, you are the man of the house. So that man, ultimately, he's cornered. He has no other way to go. Some people, they stop going back home. They sit in office till late. They don't, come back early because of the kind of atmosphere in their house. Right. So it all kind of does build up on this. So what we do it at our level is we say, we encourage people ki if you know anybody who is facing this, at least ask them to speak about it. Ask them to at least, sometimes only if somebody speaks about this issue, he is completely relieved, because he feels, okay, somebody is
also, right?
He feels somebody is there to listen to me. He doesn't want a solution. He knows there's no solution, but at least he feels that somebody is there to listen to me, or somebody is there to pacify me that, okay, I have also gone through this, so you will come out from this. There are a lot of men who have, who have been on the verge of suicide, but they have, kind of come out of this situation, and today they are very, very successful in their lives. So we have those success stories as well. Right. So yes, I think if you ask me, the immediate challenges are all of these, that how to, make men in these situations strong, how to ensure that they don't go and take any kind of extreme step. So, and this only the society can help them, I mean, don't expect the politicians to come and help you. Only the society can help each other.
So, what specifically do you think are the policy changes that are required and that would probably benefit men's rights? What are the, specifically talking about the policy?
I think the biggest challenge right now is that somebody needs to bring in a law which is going to create some kind of deterrent or punishment for anybody who's daring to file a false case. Right. Don't change the laws. It will take long time for you to change the laws, but at least where you know that women are blatantly filing false cases. I mean, there are cases where one woman has filed, 7-8 rape cases on different men, and she's extorting money from them. Right. I mean, these kind of cases, you put that woman behind the bar so that nobody else is going to dare to do this. Right. So immediate basis, I think somebody can, somebody in the sense, the politicians can, or at least at a state level, start bringing in these kind of laws. Right. So the misuse is kind of curbed. And then eventually, I mean, the whole matrimonial laws need a complete change. Right. Because, I mean, I think we are living, in times where when it comes to laws for women, we want to act very, very progressive. We've gone ahead and decriminalized adultery. So, effectively, we are saying that, okay, infidelity can be pardoned in marriage. It can be grounds for divorce. But when it comes to laws for men, we want to live in the archaic era of saying, no, man is the provider. Man has to be the guy who is going to take care of his wife for the rest of his life. So these things need to change. The maintenance laws are completely, I would say, not archaic, but in a way, they promote extortion in a sense, because the law in India says that even if you're married for one single day, just one single day, and even if you're separated for 20 years, that right. woman is entitled to getting maintenance for the rest of her life, even without a divorce. So it's not like in other countries also they will give, but at least there's a divorce which happens. Right. Here in India, the man is stuck for the rest of his life and he has to still keep paying. So right. all these things need a change, and I think that's when I say that when BJP is trying to amend the IPC, CRPC, I really hope that they bring in some change this time.
So, ma'am, I just wanted to understand as to what do you think that we can probably create a society that benefits everyone regardless of gender? How do we do that?
I think it has to come from within, First of all, I think both sides, whether you are a man or a woman, you should not be on the extreme of hating the other gender. And you should stop feeling victimized. I tell the men also, sometimes the men also get into this whole victim mentality ki, oh, hamare sath hi ho gaya, hamare ghar mein to ye hai, wo hai. I said, see, only you can help yourself. Either you keep crying or you come back to your work life, come back to your normal life, and you look at the brighter side of life. You can't keep looking at the uglier side, which is already gone through. Right. And same with the women, women can't be completely playing this victim card when it suits them, and suddenly, trying to act very progressive when it suits them. I think if both the man and the woman, they want to have a good married life, I think there needs to be a lot of compromise and a lot of adjustments and right. mutual respect. I think only then the society will, kind of flourish. Otherwise, we'll end up with a society where, all of us are hating each other. And, after 10, 15 years, we'll only have aging population because nobody will marry at the end of the day.
Correct.
So that is the, issue right now.
Correct. Great. So, lastly, what do you hope to achieve through your work as a men's rights activist and through your initiative, Voice for Men initiative, and what do you think needs to happen and for those goals to realize at the end of it all?
See, I don't really have like a goal because, as I said, when I started this, I had a couple of things in mind. One is I wanted to kind of create this whole database on one platform. Today, anybody argues with me, I have an article, I have a judgment which I can readily pick up and argue on that point. So there is this whole platform where people can come and read about the other side. The other most important thing, and it's an ongoing process, it's not going to like, okay, finally we've achieved this, is like anybody who is going through this kind of an issue, who is facing this kind of trauma. I get so many DMs, Instagram messages and all of that. All that need is just that somebody can speak to them, address them. Naturally, I don't talk to them because I only cover stories. I'm not legally, savvy to even give them advice. So I connect them with the NGOs on ground. And I think that is an ongoing process which will stay. In the absence of any kind of help from the government, I think this is what we can do in our own capacity. Right. And even if we are able to save one single life, I think our goal is met.
Right. Perfect. And now that we're just wrapping it up, this whole Prithvi Shaw incident that has just happened, what is your take on it?
See, I think when these kind of incidents happen with public figures, in a way it is good, obviously at the cost of that man, because people can see through, what is happening. It is not like, thanks to social media, I would say that a lot of people can now see the other side. And the kind of charges what the woman has come back and pressed on him, today I think society is... and when I say society, a lot of young men, they are not going to take this nonsense about, oh, women are oppressed and we are the, dominant this. Right. Today, all the young boys, they question this. They are saying, ye kya hai? This is hypocrisy, you can't say that you have the right, so you can file any case against a man. So yeah, these kind of cases are good campaigns for creating awareness about men's rights and misuse of anti-men laws. I hope whoever is right is able to come out of this mess as soon as possible.
Hope so. Great. Thank you so much. It was lovely that you could probably take out so much time from your busy schedule. And I hope we could do this again sometime. I'm going to bother you in a few months' time again, and I hope to do a similar podcast again with you. Thank you so much, so very much.
And good luck with your venture. All the best.
Thank you so much. Bye.